Alright guys, today's going to be very much a response video day. So let's go through and let's break this down. I want to show first of all how stuff like this is factually inaccurate, but let's break it down.
Alright, the conversation there got a bit out of hand. It was a really...
What they were talking about really doesn't matter too much because we're not talking or we're not discussing what Vaush and Tim says. That's going to be another video. What we're going to be talking about here is what this guy is arguing.
I think the only part of the 4-hour discussion that got really heated, but it's because Vaush called out Tim Pool for what he does. He pretends to be anti-establishment, pretends to be a centrist. Yet, if you look at his content, it is completely in defense of Donald Trump and always attacking Democrats and, by the way, yes, Nancy Pelosi, that he claims not to attack, which is...
Just because someone supports a Republican on the ticket doesn't mean they're a centrist. Where do we get this stupid idea that because you support Donald Trump, you are therefore automatically a conservative? That means every black vote that Trump gets is now a conservative. Every libertarian that Trump gets is automatically a conservative. That in itself is the stupidest argument I have ever heard. You want to know if someone's a libertarian or a centrist or left or right or whatever? Ask them about their policies. Do they support abortion? Yes or no? Tim, from my understanding, does. Are they pro-choice? Are they pro-gun? Are they pro-First Amendment? These are libertarian aspects. Arguing that someone is simply not a centrist or not a leftist because they're writing a R on the ticket instead of a D is absolutely idiotic. And people like this are just showing their ignorance and their partisanship by making that argument. I would have voted for Barack Obama for two terms, and yet I would support Donald Trump. My views have not changed that much. I am still against Guantanamo Bay for the most part, especially when it comes to US WikiLeaks and whistleblowers. I don't believe Chelsea Manning deserved to be Guantanamo Bayed. I don't think Julian Assange deserves to be Guantanamo Bayed. I am against wars in Iraq. I am against wars in Syria. I am pro-choice for some of those aspects, yeah. And pro-gun. Pro-First Amendment. Pro-freedom of speech. That would make me a libertarian. But because I want to put an R on the ticket next to my name or next to who I want to vote for, that, or in case in Australia it's an L. But at the end of the day, well, they're both L's actually, but anyway. But I was going to say, but at the end of the day, the claim that makes you a Democrat or a Republican just because you're supporting the president, it's stupidest argument, and it's a weak argument at best. But let's keep going.
It's absurd. I will show you in a minute how crazy that claim is. But first, there is obvious context here for comparing how well the U.S. has done with COVID-19, and that's comparing it to other countries. So you see here daily new confirmed COVID-19 cases per million people. This is the rolling 7-day average. This is a uniquely U.S. wave. No other line for COVID looks like this.
Right, so this is a unique US wave. No other country has these sort of 3 waves, right? Sure about that? Wave, nothing. Wave, nothing. Wave, nothing. There's Victoria. New South Wales. Wave, nothing. Wave, nothing. Wave, seems to be going up and down as well. Queensland. Wave, nothing. Wave, nothing. Wave, nothing. Still going up and down. Still seems to be 3 or 4 waves there. Western Australia. Wave, nothing. Wave, nothing. Wave, nothing. It seems like there's 3 or 4 waves in Australia as well. It's weird. That is Trump responsible for what our country is doing now? Is that the response? And don't even get me started on the fact of the rest of the argument. But we'll then keep going for a little bit, and then we'll thoroughly debunk this.
Because they never got rid of the first wave. It's the first wave.
Yeah, it's like we never really got rid of the first wave either. It's weird that, isn't it?
Into a second.
It's like it's a virus and it doesn't go away. Like the flu keeps coming back year after year.
Wave into a third wave. So a lot of Europe right now, like Germany, are experiencing a massive second wave. But there's a whole portion there in the middle where a lot of people didn't get sick and didn't die.
But people will still... But they still were getting sick, right? And they still were dying. There was less than the initial first outbreak, sure. But they didn't get rid of it either, which is exactly what you were just arguing about the US. You literally just said the US did not get... See here, it goes up and then it goes down. Goes up and then it goes down. Then it goes up. You're arguing that is bad. Here it is here. Right, let's go back to Germany. Let's go back to where he highlights Germany. It goes up, it goes down, up, and it goes up. It's like they didn't get rid of it either. So now is Trump responsible for Germany as well? But, you know.
So you can compare to Canada. Compare to Mexico.
Okay, let's look at Mexico, right? Goes up, and then it basically stays there. Starts to go down, and then it jumps up again. It's like Mexico didn't get rid of it either. Oh my God, Trump, you're so evil. Mexico is also responsible for you. You're also now responsible for Mexico, apparently.
Mexico, which has a really weird line, compared to Japan, to...
Yeah, let's look at South Korea. It goes up, and then it goes down, and then it goes up, and then it goes down. It's like they didn't get rid of it either.
South Korea. Again, these are places, especially Japan and South Korea, that took masks seriously from the start. If you had a leader in Donald Trump who did not cancel the plan to send 5 masks to every household...
It wasn't actually 5 masks to every household, but yeah.
As Trump did, look it up right now. I should have had it ready. Trump canceled the USPS sending 5 masks to every household. I'm going to bring it up live. I should have had this ready already.
Can anyone else name a country that did this? Did any country send masks, 5 masks to 3 masks to every house? I can't think of one who did it, but regardless.
But here we go. White House abandoned plan to send 650 million face masks.
What's the population of the US again? 300 million? 5 times 3 would be 1.5 billion masks, probably, roughly, give or take. He wanted to send out 2 masks to every house, not 5, but it's semantics.
Across the U.S. in April. In April, at the beginning of the pandemic.
Right, let's have a look at that, because that's an interesting point. At the beginning of the pandemic, in April, right? Except for the fact that you show that it was actually in March, not April. So for a start, those masks that were supposed to be sent out was already after it had started declining. Do you think maybe that is why the White House rejected that idea? The volume of cases is already starting to go down. Trump's probably sitting there thinking, we've already beat it, right? We're getting over that initial spike. Why are we going to send out the masks? Because as of this already, it's already starting to decline. And by the way, April was at the start of the pandemic. The pandemic actually started back in like December over in China. You know, but you guys don't want to talk about that. And it's actually weird that this website here only starts tracking it from March. What about January, February? What about November, December? Where are the cases of that? It's not like China's not on this list, right? There's China there. So what about before that? And he has set it back from December 31st to October. So why is there no January or February? Maybe because the rest of Europe was getting, done up the you-know-what right about then, right? They don't want to show that data. Because it makes the US look a little bit better than what they're trying to claim.
Out, it was ready and Trump stopped it. If Trump took masks seriously and let these masks go out to the people, you could have had a line like South Korea.
No, you wouldn't have, because even when you show back here, it was already on the way down. I don't blame Trump for not wanting to send out these masks. The line was already on its way down by that stage. Has it gone up since then? Sure, but no one has a crystal ball. By the way, your lines sort of went up at the time of Black Lives Matter. Are we going to talk about that? These people that sit here and go on about how the Black Lives Matter movement is important seems to be roughly when the cases of COVID went up. Look like COVID cases were on their way down right before Black Lives Matter. When was the George Floyd protest? George Floyd protests began on the 26th of May. Right. So, April, May would have been about there. That's weird. It's right before it goes up again. That's weird, isn't it? It's weird how the cases seem to have skyrocketed right after the George Floyd protests and the Black Lives Matter protesting. Considering we know this virus has an incubation period of about 1 or 2 weeks, can we say that the Black Lives Matter protest actually spread the virus? It's a safe bet. But these guys don't want to talk about that. Why? Because Trump was against the Black Lives Matter protests. He claimed back then that they were going to spread the virus. And people like this guy stood up for it. I'm not sure if he specifically did it, but people on his side of the politics stood up for it, said that the Black Lives Matter movement was okay to protest because it's an important value. Be damned with the consequences. You're going to kill grandma unless you go to a Black Lives Matter protest, because apparently the virus is immune to those. Except the fact that it's not, because we're seeing here that it has increased. Literally right after the protest. I don't know. Little bit weird. You get a whole bunch of people out marching in the street, yelling at each other's faces. All of a sudden, the cases for COVID have gone up. I bet you find if we go back and have a look around September, at around this date, I bet you find there was another protest. Seems like these protests are really, really good for spreading the virus. Seems like every time the US beats the virus, it seems to go down, all of a sudden there's another protest. It's weird, that, isn't it? And in Australia, we had the exact same thing. So in Australia, we had a protest in Victoria. Look at that. Virus goes down and then starts to spike again. Yup. New South Wales goes down and then starts to spike again. And we didn't have the protest nowhere near as bad as you guys did. We had 1 or 2 rallies and that was it. You guys had them for every day. Seems like it might be a bit of a tool of the establishment to spread COVID. Just saying, bit of a theory.
And if you also attack Trump, I should say discussion, Tim Pool unwilling to criticize Trump for the obvious damage that he caused that was unique to the U.S. that other countries did not see.
Not unique, because I've shown how Australia was also affected the same way.
Now, let me show you how ridiculous the claim is from Tim Pool that he doesn't attack Pelosi. No, doesn't attack Pelosi.
Not what he said. This is... Let's actually go back.
Any other circumstance where we have no control group. What am I supposed to say?
So,
well, if
wait,
Trump
how many would have
backflip,
how many would have had to have died before you would criticize him?
I don't know.
Give me a number.
Know.
Wait, so you could have let 1 million?
So what you're telling me is that we have no idea what would have happened if Trump did anything else.
We don't
and now
ever.
We're supposed
We
to
don't.
make a determination.
That's you're making a tautological statement. That's how the universe works. We don't ever know what would happen if other things.
What am I supposed to say when Fauci early on praised him, when governors early on praised him? Now they're critical of him in an election.
Wait. First of all, the praise of governors is irrelevant. Are governors health experts? Second of all, Fauci praised
Trump's a health expert either? No, of course not.
Him a couple of times. He's also under a lot of political pressure to do what Trump says, or otherwise there's a very decent chance of him getting canned.
Bullshit. Fauci has spoken out against Trump and still has his job at the moment. So obviously he's not that afraid of speaking out.
Fauci has made plenty of statements which Trump has later contradicted. Trump has been back and forth on the mask issue going so...
So let me get this straight. Trump is authoritarian, right? But when Trump has people that speak out against him and contradict what Trump says, and they still keep their job, that makes him authoritarian. Do we need to look up the definition?
Or is to make fun of people for wearing masks.
I do not.
You claim to have like this... a disaffected sort of like anti-establishment.
We'll get to the Vaush thing later.
But your channel is hyper partisan against the left, and then when anyone criticizes Trump, you'll either defend him harshly or you'll back up and say, well, they're all bad. You are taking the choice to defend Trump. You are the partisan here. You're not a distanced anti-authoritarian.
You also take the stance of defending the left, Vaush. Projection is an amazing tool.
And you are standing with him, and you are saying, yes, I am anti-authoritarian, I am anti-establishment, but also, we don't know if him lying to the American people was bad. It could have caused a panic.
So
wait.
That whole lying to the American people thing is absolutely idiotic. Because literally the same tactic was used in World War II. The campaign was remain calm. During the middle of the Blitz, the UK was telling people everything was going to be okay. That is the role of the government, is to lie to people if need be and tell them everything is going to be okay. Trump did it. Australia does it. Guess what? The UK did it back in the 40s.
Should I make a video right now where I just scream about Nancy Pelosi causing all of the problems? I haven't done that.
Whataboutism is when you say, oh, you want to talk about this? Well, what about this?
So there he says...
Nancy Pelosi causing all of the problems? I haven't done that.
So he's talking about Nancy Pelosi and COVID, right? That's what he's talking about in that statement. His argument is he's going on
AOC
about everything else. But that's not what he said. He said about Nancy Pelosi and COVID. Where is he attacking Nancy Pelosi and COVID? It doesn't happen, as far as I know. Bringing up every other, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that?
Pelosi belittles AOC wing of the party. Nancy Pelosi shut down by Justice Democrat Rashida Tlaib. Pelosi...
Nothing it's doing with COVID, is it?
Endorsement of Joe Kennedy backfires. AOC and Tlaib respond to Pelosi's disrespect. New Trump ad demolishes Nancy Pelosi. So, this is the idea that he does not attack Pelosi, but...
Shifting goalposts. We're not talking about Nancy Pelosi and COVID now. Now we're just talking about general attacking Nancy. It's not what he was talking about in the clip.
And using it as...
But yeah, that's it's like, oh my god, this is so... This is the typical left. This is the shifting goalpost argument. This is why I'm not against these people giving these people a platform. So you can expose them for being the hyper-partisans that they are. They claim that everybody else is hyper-partisan. Guess what? So are you. Is Tim partisan? Sure. Yeah, you partisan? Yes. Is Vaush partisan? Sure. Am I partisan? Sure, to a certain point. But I'll still attack Trump, and Tim does as well. Tim attacks Trump when it comes to certain policies. I am very much against Trump locking up Julian Assange, and I have made that blatantly clear. And I bet you find if you go through Tim's videos, you will find Tim speaking about the Republicans as well. I believe he covered Project Veritas's video where they're actually exposing the Republicans and the Democrats in election meddling. Voter fraud. How is that partisan working out? But regardless. Guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I saw this video and I was like, oh, really? Yeah. The arguments that he's making is just so idiotically stupid. It really, really is. But let me know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. If this video has been helpful, please smack that like button. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, have a great night and enjoy.